So this one was probably the most complicated bottle that I researched for my tiny bottle so far. Hello and welcome to My Tiny Bottles, the project where I'm exploring my grandmother's legacy of miniature liquor bottles, one tiny bottle at a time. I'm your host, Tammy Coxon, and today I have a guest with me. This is Evan Draper.
Hello.
And I met Evan online, invited a stranger that I met on the internet to my house. And I met him when I posted this tiny bottle of Denicet Clonger Grand Liqueur de Sapins. And he responded by posting his little bottle of.
Denicet Clonger Liqueur de Genevieve.
So clearly these were friends who needed to meet, and we also became friends who needed to meet. And now it is finally time for the grand meeting of the liqueurs. So this one was probably the most complicated bottle that I researched for my tiny bottle so far. It actually required a two-part story, which you can find on mytinybottles.com. But suffice to say, complicated French liqueur made from the buds of pine trees from the Jura region. And it was packaged in these fancy bottles that look like pine, look like trees, and that, of course, being its most notable characteristic. But I am really excited to taste it. As I said in the original video for this one, I actually have a bottle of a modern version of this same liqueur that I found while I was researching it. So we're going to taste those side by side, and then we're also going to do a little tasting on this one. So first question, how the heck do you think we get into this?
A knife that we don't care very much about.
That's true. Actually, first question, who are you? Why did you have this weird bottle of pine liqueur?
So,
Or not pine liqueur,
yeah, I
Genepi liqueur.
don't. I'm not a professional in the spirits industry. I'm just a collector. I know a lot of people in the spirits industry. My brother's a sommelier. But I started getting into alcohol and tasting maybe about 6 years ago. Oh boy. I think you're on the right track. That was not what I expected to see under there.
It has a cork.
I think you're right.
Okay, go on.
Mine decidedly looks like a twist off. So the idea that one of these was going to be educational for the other is also not true. Um, yeah, so I used to be into tea, actually, tea tasting. And when I went to graduate school, I really needed to get as I could not use caffeine recreationally, only functionally. So I switched over to spirits.
Nice. Okay, corkscrew? It's very tiny. I don't know if a corkscrew is going to fit in there, but
And
this is definitely cork.
You think? I was worried it was wood.
No, I feel it. It's definitely cork.
Yeah, okay.
All right,
That's good.
so there's, you won't be able to see this. The zoom in isn't there, but yeah, this is definitely cork. All
I
right,
think the diameter is such that like a regular corkscrew is going to be too big.
well, I guess we will find out. Okay, I'm back. I have a variety of tools. We have the knife we started with. I have a couple different corkscrews. I have some pokey things. All right, I'm gonna try a corkscrew. I think it will just fit. I mean, if we push it down into the bottle, we don't much care. Oh yeah, it's very soft.
Very spongy.
It's very spongy cork. Yeah.
Whoa. Whoa. Coffee filters, anyone?
Coffee filters for the win. Okay. Well, we have gotten in. It's a very soft cork. Ta-da. Okay. Nice thing about being at the bar is that I do, in fact,
Nice.
have a filter handy. Okay. So we've made it in. And all right. So any predictions? Have you tasted this one, the modern one?
Oh, yeah, I have
Okay.
that one at home.
Okay.
It's pretty hot.
That one's 55% ABV. This one is 30, this is probably 35.5% ABV at 67 proof, but I don't actually know whose proofs those were, right? If it's British proofs, it might actually have been more.
It is a lot brighter
It's
green
really, really green.
than the modern one.
Wow.
Looking at a creme de menthe kind of
Now,
mouthwash
to
color.
be fair, it does say on it, hold on. Woo. All right. It's an unexpected mess. You'd think I'd have towels at the bar, but I don't. All right. So it does say on the bottle, it says the food color conforms to the statutory requirements of the United Kingdom. And that's actually a thing I used to date it. So it was like
You used
1957.
to date statutory
I
requirements?
did, yes.
Oh my God. He was so inattentive.
He was. Just wasn't a very good lover either, let me tell you.
Just
Um,
wouldn't.
so, so this was put into the UK food regulations in 1957 and then removed by 1967. So that's kind of why I'm dating this to the late 1960s. So definitely some artificial coloring in here. All right. It smells good. I have used the modern version of this as a substitute for green chartreuse, and it definitely has a lot of that same kind of aroma, that real aromatic. What are you getting?
Yeah, it's very sharp and almost minty. I think it's like more a narrow focus of a green chartreuse is probably the best way to describe it.
Yeah, I was a little scared when I saw the color that it was going to be minty. I mean, there shouldn't be any mint in this, right? It's
Yeah.
just supposed to be pine buds, little spruce tips.
Hopefully, there's some sugar in there too.
Well, okay, yeah. But I mean, in terms of the botanicals, like, I don't think it had other botanicals. It smells good. It doesn't smell kind of off. Sometimes the liqueurs have this kind of dusty smell. All right, ready? Going in? It's sweet.
It's a lot more gentle than the 55%.
Mm-hmm.
Great. I'm grateful for that. I think that kind of planty depth is subtle, but it's there. Um,
Yeah, it's kind of like sweet and nondescriptly herbal. It's almost a little bit minty, not in the flavor, but in the like a menthol kind of character,
yeah, it's
right? It's got that same kind of cooling.
we're so used to that minty flavor reference that it's tough to take yourself outside.
And the color is definitely not helping
Yeah.
there.
The difficulty with a lot of these like evergreen drinks is they can be very one note. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
that sharp freshness. Just the same with mint liqueurs.
Yeah, and I mean, this isn't obviously piney to me, right? It doesn't, I mean, it doesn't, I like pine liqueurs. Like you've brought a bunch of other pine things, this Douglas fir brandy. I love the pininess of that. Zerben's like the pininess of that. This is not, doesn't, I mean, if somebody said what flavor is this, I would not have said pine bud or fir bud or spruce bud or whatever.
It's really pleasant though. I mean, I can imagine, coming home from after work and pouring a little bit of this on ice, for people who like gin and tonics or like kind of absinthe, asti kind of things. It is really refreshing.
All right, well, let's compare it to its modern buddy, which as you can already see, color completely different. So this one was is created by not the same distillery. So the distillery that made this one, um, the old bottle got bought by Emile Pernod, and they make Pernod and absinthe and various things. The town where this was made was a very popular absinthe town until absinthe was banned, and that's part of why they sort of expanded into these other liqueurs. Um, so this 55% version is something that they were making and selling to confectioners in the area, right? So bakers and people who were making things, um, candy, that sort of stuff. And so Avery Glasser found this. I don't know what the whole story is, but through his importing company, Vendetta Spirits, brought it to market in the US. Didn't really take off. There's a few articles about it, but it didn't really take off. It's hard to find. But when I was researching the older bottle, I found one of these like literally a mile away from my house. So I ran over there and got it. It was posted online. I ran over there and got it. And I've really enjoyed using it kind of, as I said, in the same sorts of places I would do chartreuse because it is this higher 55% ABV.
Now, I had to jump through a lot more hoops to get this. I had to like manually navigate the Pennsylvania state
Oh, God.
special order.
Wow.
I mean, it was maybe like a month and a half before this thing showed up to my house, and there it is on the shelf
At Ball Square. Yep.
the local liquor store.
That's way pineier. So they say they've updated the recipe a little bit. I'm not sure this is meant to be a true representation of what they were doing in the past. Definitely a lot more pine. I've definitely found with these older bottles that the volatiles blow off, right? And you lose some of those. Now, how anything would blow off through this glass inside and paper mache outside, I don't know, but all right, well, let's turn to your tiny bottle.
My tiny bottle. This is definitely, we've got a little pull tab here, and I think I see some threads of a screw.
Wow, that's nice. Look at that. We did some thinking before about about time periods. I don't know that Evan's been as obsessive about as I have about trying to figure out. Well, that was easy.
It just jumped right off of there.
Wow.
When I bought it, I can't remember what they quoted the age as. It might have been 70s.
That's my guess. This one has a measurement on it. It's 3 centiliters, so a little bit smaller. This is presumably 50 centiliters, but I actually have no idea because there's no volume anywhere on it.
These are the new glasses.
Those are the new glasses. All right, what color do we think this one's going to be?
I think it is just going to be a similar lurid.
I think it's going to be a lurid green as well.
I sure hope so. It's not brown.
Oh, that's pretty. That's a nice green. They definitely used better food coloring. This definitely has like that, almost like an absinthe green, which in absinthe I think would be fake to get this color, but
where did it go? I don't smell anything.
I don't smell anything. There it is. Alcohol coming up. I do think they just need some time to open up. So this is not pine bud liqueur. This is Genepi. Genepi is like a alpine herbal liqueur. I think of like things like chartreuse and those things as kind of fitting overall into the category of Genepi, but there are some specific definitions. What do you think? I had a soap note.
True.
Distinct soapiness.
Kind of like if you were drinking creme de violette straight.
Yeah.
But
it was soap and not flowers.
More on the plant axis.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not mad.
Oh, I can't say I like it.
I mean, Genepi is one of my favorite spirits. I probably have like 4 other bottles at home.
Wow. I can't get past the soap.
I probably wouldn't buy a 5th of this.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to be drinking them.
All right. What is making you happy about it?
Just like those bright, fresh flavors.
Okay.
I don't know. I think it's a welcome presence in the kind of world of macho-fied, like super oak.
Sure. It's definitely not that. I can't do it. Can't do it. It's all you. All right. Well, that was a load of fun. We might continue to taste pine liqueurs and report back, but we are not going to do that on video. So thank you so much for coming. We've been talking about doing this for months. I'm glad we finally made it happen. Any closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts.
Buddies.
That is just the most fun bottle that
right.
I've ever seen, that anyone's ever seen. I think there's definitely, I think we've seen with things like Domaine de Canton, with Italicus, like fun bottles
Mm-hmm.
do well.
Yes.
And I think there's a lot more space to be explored there.
Yeah, and there's like a bunch of minis of this available online, and you can see why, right? Mini collectors would be very drawn to this tiny little pine tree, and it is just so appealing. I mean, it was certainly when I opened it, it was like an absolutely delightful day. So, yeah, that was great. All right. Well, if you want to learn more about this bottle and all the bottles, you should hit mytinybottles.com. There's lots of close-up pictures of this where you can see all the great detailing of this fabulous paper mache bottle. And you can also find me, of course, on social media at mytinybottles. Evan, if people want to see what you're drinking, where should they look for you?
I'm on Instagram at digging my graves. I had a little stint where I was a grave digger, so it was shared, burial ground cocktail content. Sadly, I don't dig graves anymore. I just drink myself to death.
Well, I won't drink to the death part, but we could drink to something. Cheers.